Hey, Greg.
Hey, damn it.
Um,
You got a whole table now. That's maybe.
moving up in order. Just how important was it when coming off the two draws, well, the three consecutive draws? How important was it to get this one as you guys start this home stretch here?
I thought it was a huge 3 points. You know, again, a lot. I feel like we've been on the road a lot. You come back home and you're starting a 4 out of 5, I think, at home. You want to take the first one. No matter how you do it, you want to take it, and we were able to do that tonight. I think that's big. I think that settles the group in a little bit going into Wednesday and going into the week because it's another busy week. So, really important. I can hear you because you're right there. Oh, there you go, Josh. There you go.
No, when you look at Miki Amane and how he played today, how important was he to how you guys played, and sort of what is his progression been in the last maybe 5 games?
Yeah, you know, with Miki, I think when he first got here, he was super eager, really spry, really active, super involved. And then I think the league kind of lets you know it's a tough league, and I think he had a tough penalty called him an LAFC, and a couple set pieces that maybe get redirected at the front post and up a goal. And I felt like he carried those pretty heavily for a little while. And I feel like he's kind of emerged out of that recently. We're trying to find more ways to keep him involved in the game and not let him get kind of just stuck in the back where he's just kind of hanging out, but getting him more into the midfield and getting him high. The second half, we used him a little bit more as an attacker and a wing back to, again, try to keep him involved. And so I think the more involved he is, the more you see him, the more quality that you see that comes out of him. I just think he had a stretch where he was out there, but he wasn't involved enough. And I think he was just taking up very conservative positions where he was almost, I wouldn't say this about him, but he was almost like hiding a little bit. And now it's like, go get involved. You have so much quality. So we've been working on that with him and talking him through it. And I feel like he's really coming to life again in terms of that role, and that's important to us. He's a very good soccer player, so it's really important to us. So yeah, he was important for us tonight again.
Hey Greg, congratulations on the victory. Last match in Charlotte, you mentioned Gabriel that just wasn't able to make that final difference. Tonight, a goal and assist. What changed in his performance today? Just how do you think he looked tonight against Houston?
Yeah, I felt like he was just really like competing, and he was dynamic, and he was aggressive, and he was, whether it was in transition or times when we were getting him on the run, he wasn't just receiving at balls at his feet standing. He was receiving while he's on the move, or he's being a little more active, or in transition when he's able to get behind and use some of his power and speed. And then from that, you see more of his qualities come out, right? And so that's two things. I think some of that is us getting him involved, and some of that is him not just being kind of passive in a way and looking for the ball at his feet and trying to play one-on-one all the time, but to play aggressive and for us to play him moving into some faster actions, whether that's into the space and he goes, or whether that's him getting it, but he's already on the move. And I feel like when he does that, you see a lot more of what he can bring to the equation. And he did it on the right-hand side in the first half. He did it on the left-hand side in the second half. So he's capable of causing problems on either side, and tonight he showed that. He probably wishes he had one more because he had Ricky, I think, set him up for a really good look there in the second half. But I felt like he was aggressive, and he was running aggressively too and competing out there, which it gets him involved.
Hey Greg, in the second half it seemed like you were a little bit more animated than usual. It felt like you were kicking every ball. And it seemed like when I was watching the team play, you wanted them to progress the ball more forward, whereas there was a bit more back passing.
Oh yeah.
Today. Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate, and I think it's mostly when we were up 2-1, and it's the latter part of the game, and these are battles, and guys, as the game's progressed, maybe they get a little tired, and I feel like guys tend to then go to what's easy. And yeah, playing backwards is easy, but it's not necessarily what's right or what's good for us. And I wanted us to do the little extra work to try to play forward and play in the opposition's half versus continuing to go back to John and have John hit long balls that don't necessarily even get as far as we were when we passed backwards. Like, to me, it doesn't add up. So it's doing a little bit more work and being a little more confident to try to play through lines, to play forward and try to keep the game away from our goal versus back towards our goal. So that was part of my animation for sure. Yeah.
Great, congratulations
you feel like the team did their work tonight?
Yeah, look, I thought we struggled in the first half. I thought in terms of organizing our defensive responsibilities, I thought we were not good. And that kind of set the tempo for the game. Because if you can't get pressure to the ball and you can't win the ball in a reasonable area, then your attacks are starting at bad places. You're always kind of under it. Hence the switch, at halftime was more of a defensive switch in many ways to try to reorganize sort of our numbers. They overload the midfield, right? They bring Carrasquilla, who is supposed to be a winger on paper. He comes inside. They create a four-man midfield. They're all very comfortable with the ball. We weren't matching their numbers, and it was creating some really difficult decisions for Mark and Gaston on, do I step forward and defend the pivot that's in front of me, but then I have a guy behind me, and there was all these difficult decisions, and I felt like we were between everything, and that's never a good place to be. And so we tried to reorganize it on the fly with Gabe on the left. It wasn't really coming off clean, so then we switched those two and let Diego just come inside and really defend more narrow, and that way Gabe could defend the outside back who's taking a higher position, and Diego could really defend narrow, and if they wanted to play out to that side, then we were comfortable with that because we could organize the defending. And I felt like we matched their numbers, which helped us to defend things and control the middle of the field better, which then led to, again, us having the ball more, us being able to break out in transitions that were from better areas versus in our box. I felt like we were able to kind of reestablish a level of control of the game that we needed to then go on and get something out of it. So that kind of was the impetus of the adjustment. I felt like we needed to do that just to kind of get a hold of the game and get guys to the right spots. I'm not sure if I answered your question. I think I just went on a tangent, but. Okay, thanks.
Greg, you had a mistake with McCarthy in the back there that put you guys down.
Sure.
One, what's the balance that you sort of want to see there between him playing it long and trying to play it? And two, you guys have had a stretch of games where you've allowed the other team to score goals. You've been playing behind them.
Yeah.
You think you're playing with fire if it sort of continues to go that way?
Yeah, I don't. First, back to the first question with John. I think John is trying to find the balance. He's an experienced goalkeeper, and I don't love when we go back to John and he just launches it up to midfield. I feel like, for us, we need to get guys to the right spots, provide John with the solutions, and then John needs to make the right solution and execute upon the solution. Sometimes we don't get guys always to the right spots fast enough, depending on how aggressive the opposition's pressure is. And sometimes John, on a very few occasions, John doesn't necessarily execute the right decision. I feel like that's more rare. John's usually one who plays a little more conservatively versus aggressively, and so I don't want him to shy away from still looking for those opportunities to play, because I think it's important to our team and it's important to how we play. I don't think we win a ton of balls that get launched up to the top, so it's important for us to provide him with the solutions and him to play. Today, he got one pick that I'm sure he wishes he had back, and maybe that was a moment that we could have gone longer. But I think it's important to how we play that that we get there and he tried to find the right solution in that situation to help us. It's good for us when teams try to press us if we can break it clean, because we do have, especially when Joe's out there, we have pace and we have things on the other side that if they want to stretch themselves out and we can actually get through them and we create some really good opportunities for ourselves. So I want John to stay confident, and I want him to keep finding the right solutions, and if he doesn't see them, then he plays long, and we live to fight another day if we don't recover it. Yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that. Again, I think, look, when you talk about home at RSL, we started fantastic, I thought, and we didn't execute to score. That's one situation, and today, I don't think we had a great first half at all. But I don't think it's a great cycle to get behind in games and have to come back to win them. But this team has showed a lot of resiliency. Maybe playing on the road is part of that during this stretch. But this group has showed a lot of resiliency to be able to make up some deficits, but not something that we love to do. I'd love for us to have a better first half than we did today, get on top of the game, and kind of manage from that side of things. Something that we obviously talk about and that we want to try to do. But you got to play the game that's in front of you, and you got to deal with what you deal with. So maybe with some home games, not tonight withstanding, that we can maybe get on the front side of things and play from there. Yep.
Anything else? Thanks, Greg.
Oh, Damien, I think, yeah.
Oh, Damien.
Damien in the back. Yeah.
Did you get a look at the post-game argument or whatever that
Oh, I thought you were going to ask the stats, and then I was going to tell you that I don't get them from Kevin. I'm just giving Kevin a hard time tonight. I did. You know, what happened was Ben, I don't want to speak for Ben, but I think he was disappointed that the 3 minutes was like 3.5 minutes. He maybe felt like there was a little more to that. So I think he was having dialogue with the referee. I think one of our players kind of stepped in between him and the dialogue. He didn't appreciate that, and then it kind of just started into nothing personal, but a battle of words and maybe a little bumping and all that kind of stuff. I don't think there was much in it. I just think it was, you know, he didn't like that one of our players stepped between him and the referee as he was trying to have a discussion, and whatever, it happens. It's emotions at the end of the game, and everybody moves on. All right? Thank you, everybody.